There have been many theories about the hollow earth theory, Rodney. We'll talk about all of them tonight, whether who's living there, if anyone's living there. Perhaps they might be extraterrestrials. But primarily, here's a question for you. If the earth is hollow, don't you think we would have been told by it? It would have been spotted by satellites? Or has it been, and they're just not telling us? And if they're not, why?
One of the list members came on one day and he says that his son at his high school had invited a NASA scientist to come talk to them. And after the discussion, he followed him down the hall. And he stopped him and he said, point blank, he asked him, do you guys have satellite images of the South Pole opening? And the scientist looked at him for a little bit, and then he just said, yes, but we paintbrush them out to look like ice and snow.
I mean, it's got to be, it's huge. So I can't picture that.
The Earth is similar to a bubble or a ball. It has a shell. My estimate of the thickness of the shell is about 800 miles from the outside to the inner surface. It's up near the pole, thinner towards the equator, because indications are that acceleration of gravity increases towards the pole, requiring more matter. And that inside the Earth, suspended in the hollow, is a central sun that emits a solar wind out through the polar openings, causing the auroras to light up above the poles.
Ein Bleistiftstrich besteht aus Graphit, aus Kohlenstoff, demselben Element, aus dem auch Diamanten bestehen. Aber Kohlenstoff ist noch viel mehr. Die Basis des Lebens, schlechthin. Das sind Kohlenstoffatome, betrachtet durch ein Atomkraftmikroskop. Die Atome sind in einem exakten Raster angeordnet. Jedes Atom misst weniger als 1/1000 Millimeter. Ein Jahrhundert lang hielt sich eisern die Überzeugung, das Atom sei der kleinste Baustein der Materie. Aber in den 20er Jahren des vorigen Jahrhunderts entdeckte man, dass selbst das Atom aus noch kleineren Teilchen besteht. Um einen winzigen Atomkern bewegen Elektronen.
Okay, now let's talk about some hidden underground cities.
Okay.
How did you start doing work on this?
Well, like I said, my work comes from the people that I work with. And during the course of the past life regression, a lot of information comes out. And I'm never searching for it, it just pops up. And those are the ones that I weed out. It's not every case, but when you do thousands of people, you're going to get a few that are different. And that's what I've written about, a piece here, a piece there, and begin to put a puzzle together and get an entire story.
Where are these cities?
They're throughout the entire world. Okay, now if you want to go into that, these cities have been around since before the time of Atlantis. Because during the time of Atlantis, when it went down, a lot of the people went underground, and the cities were already there, already prepared by that time, because some of them were done by the ETs. They made these underground cities in the beginning so they could live there because of the Earth had not really calmed down. It was not in a state where they could live on the surface, so they made underground cities. The amazing thing is that what I've heard, see, they're still in existence because there's a whole civilization living down there.
Do they look like us?
Oh, well, it's hard to say because they've been living underground for so long. I know where you're going with that question. You're going with the government underground cities. That's a different thing.
Well, yeah, I was going to get into that. But, I mean, I guess you're right. I mean, if a creature or a human has lived underground all its life, you know,
But
it's got to look different.
The amazing thing about these underground cities is the ETs put something down there that is very similar to a sun. It's there all the time, so they have light, there are lakes, there are gardens, there are a whole civilization There are animals that don't exist on the surface of the Earth. These people have been there since forever, and they have tunnels that connect throughout the entire system. They're able to go as fast as 3,000 miles an hour to go from one place to the other. The entrance to these tunnels most of them are underneath pyramids all over the world. The tunnels were there first, and the entrances, and then the pyramids were placed on top of the entrances. And like the ones in Egypt, they say many people know where these entrances are, but they're afraid to go down there because this is way down. I mean, it's not right under the surface. So these are whole cities and civilizations living down there, and they have no desire to come to the top, no desire to mingle with us at all.
Do they ever get infringed on by we surface dwellers?
If they did, they could handle it. I mean, because they'd either have the person stay or whatever, but they're not a violent people. But they are much more highly advanced than we are on the surface because they haven't had the violence to impede their development. So they said, talk about computers, you don't even know the half of what's really available underneath the surface.
On this planet yesterday, an 8.1 to 8.2 magnitude near Antarctica that affected even up to Tasmania, up near Australia, New Zealand. It must have been 6-7 miles deep in the ocean. How would that affect any inhabitants in a hollow Earth? I mean, do they feel our surface earthquakes or anything like that?
Yes, large earthquakes cause the Earth to vibrate like a bell, and a bell is hollow. So that right there is evidence that our Earth is hollow. Whenever there's a large earthquake, causes the Earth to ring like a bell with a period of about 54 minutes. You can find that right in your encyclopedia, and receive a lot of rebounds from the inner surface. And then on the other side of the planet, there is a shadow zone where very little of these earthquakes reach. This shadow zone is caused because of the hollow. The earthquakes don't pass through the hollow.
Now, when you talk about hollow Earth, again, are we talking about something that goes all the way down from the North Pole to the South Pole, or do you think it hollows, it stops, and then maybe there's another hole at the South Pole that does the same thing? Or does it go all the way through the planet?
It goes all the way through the planet, but you need to understand that the Earth is mostly hollow. Like an atom is hollow, it has an electron shell and a nucleus suspended in that hollow. The Earth also has a shell. It's only about 800 miles from the outside to the inside, and there's 6,400 miles inside the Earth that is hollow. There's space.
All right, if you were to be in the middle there, aside from the fact that you say there's a sun there, looking up, what do you think you'd see? What would you see? Rocks? What would it look like?
If you're standing on the inner surface?
Yeah, and just looking, I guess, toward the sides of the inside of the planet, what would you be seeing?
Well, out on the outer surface, our Earth curves away so that you can't see past about 60 miles before the horizon dips below the horizon. Inside would be just the opposite, where the horizon gradually curves up.
Last century, various scientists searched for the pole openings. Accordingly, the South Pole is supposed to be the head chakra of the Earth and have an enormous pole opening. The North Pole would be the root chakra. During this century, two great efforts were made to find these pole openings and to make contact with the extraterrestrial race